This is a journey connecting the music with the people that inspire us. You're listening to the Sounds of Success podcast with your host, Jim Lombardo. Brought to you by the Rising Tide Foundation. Let's jump right in.
Oh, Alfonso, it's so good to see you, and it's great to be back in the studio, my friend.
I totally agree.
Okay, for those who don't know, Alfonso is our producer. He keeps the tapes rolling and occasionally keeps us on track. So, oh my God. Alfonso, are you trying to DJ while we're recording?
Yeah, I think I can make a little money on the side.
Apparently I don't pay you enough, Alfonso. I thought that with the raise, you'd be okay. But yet your side gig kind of makes sense with our guest today, because today we have the CEO and he's not going to like this, but this is the best way I can describe it. The CEO of a music publishing company. What do you think of that, Alfonso?
Maybe I'll take a break from DJing.
Well, I do think you should stick with the recording, okay? Because that's how your primary source of income is. So in the studio today, we have Kyle Jekelek, the CEO of Lootly.
Absolutely.
Kyle, my friend, welcome to the studio.
What's up, brother?
It's a beautiful home you have.
Yeah, it's not a fake background or anything. This is my this is my humble abode.
I love it. I love
grand piano in the corner back there.
Yeah, I mean,
these virtual backgrounds are awesome.
I wouldn't expect that. I wouldn't expect a classical piano for you.
No, you'd get like a MIDI controller from me. Like
yeah, right.
Tiny thing, drum machine.
Okay, hang on a sec. Alfonso, what'd you say?
Yeah, Jim, we need a sound check.
You need a sound check. All right, Kyle, we have to check the sound, make sure everything's good for the recording. And to do this, we're going to reveal a song that we think captures you, your nature, and your personality. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
And you don't know what this is, so I want everybody to know that you don't know what this is. So, Kyle, I'm going to take you back to 1997. The second track off Crystal Method's album, Vegas, with the song Busy Child. Because I got to tell you, if there's anything I know about you, you are a busy child. So, Kyle, busy child.
Trapped in a 43-year-old's body. I am a busy child.
So, Kyle, busy child, did we nail it or did we fail it? Let us know. What do you think?
Oh, you want an answer now? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to listen. It's rolling. I don't hear anything. Yeah,
but that's why I got to lean on you, because I got to figure out how I can play this music without going to jail. But I have to say, I nailed it, which I was worried because you gave me a blank stare, and I was very concerned that you got trapped in the virtual background.
I was just looking into your soul virtually. just for a minute.
Okay, so instantaneously we nailed it, and you're familiar with this song, I would imagine.
Yeah, man. But how did you? So what else was in the running?
Well, there was a lot of things in the running, but I have to tell you, I stayed within that framework of that kind of genre, the electronic kind of. And I'll tell you, because I have a huge database of music, and when I write, I mean, there was not even a question. It just seems so right with kind of the schedule you've been keeping lately, and your childlike hairstyle.
Boom. It's not, bro. I don't know if it's the light. It's looking pretty good today. I was surprised.
I will agree with you. It's fantastic. It is good. I love it. I love it.
Thanks. I'm working on. Well, yeah. Last time I saw you, gave me a hard time. You're like, "What are you doing with that? Get rid of it."
Oh, I liked it. I thought, look, I think you've got it going on now too, so I have no problem with that.
Amen.
All right, Alfonso, where are we going here?
All right, Jim, great song. Let's double check the mics.
Boy, he's excitable today. Alfonso, jeez.
Am I supposed to see him? Because I don't see him.
No, he's in the studio. He's in the recording studio. You're not going to see him. All right, Alfonso.
I'm like the wizard.
He is like the wizard. He's behind the scenes. Kyle, let's check the microphones with a really simple question. So in a single sentence, I don't know if I got that right in the description, but how would you describe your current role at Lootly?
Yeah, I'm the CEO, and I don't remember what I put before when you asked me.
Well, you don't have to worry about it because you get an award. You got an award
for
the shortest responses to the podcast questionnaire.
Great. I'm not here to waste anybody's time. I'm
not even too sure. They were all one-word answers. I got very little information about you from the podcast questionnaire. So this will there's going to be a lot of questions here. So go ahead. That's it. CEO of Lootly. That's it.
Yeah. So what is it? What is the day-to-day entail? Basically,
we're gonna get into that. But I gotta tell you, once again, he gets an award for the shortest answer in the all the podcasts we've ever had. The shortest answer ever. So congratulations, you got the.
Thanks, man. I didn't want to disappoint.
Yeah, you got the MTV award. That's great. That little guy with the flag coming your way.
Listen, the way everything is heading, like everything's microform audio content, right? So microform answers, man. Send me a form, I'm giving you microform responses. It's like
this is old school, though. We're going old school, going retro, long, very long podcast. This is like a 3-hour podcast.
That's it. That's too short. I thought we were gonna 9 hours. Yeah.
All right, Alfonso. Let's keep going here. How is that? Were you ready to record?
Yeah, it's sounding great. Ready to record track 1, built on the backstory.
Okay, Kyle. Your first track is built on the backstory, and oh boy, I can't wait. So let's get started, and let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up, Kyle?
Yeah, I was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So it was, like 40 minutes outside of Manhattan.
Yeah, familiar.
Yeah. But I don't really remember much. So we were there, until I was like 3 or 4. And then we moved to a suburb outside of Chicago. My dad worked. And then, so again, it's just like we bounced around a little bit and then ended up back in Connecticut. So I grew up in a town called West Hartford, which was about an hour and a half outside of the city. I keep mentioning that because I spent, most of my life in New York, 20 years. And would sneak down there whenever I got a chance. So, I was like 14, skipping school, taking the Greyhound bus to Brooklyn, get all the exclusive vinyls and bring them back and make mixtapes for my friends. So, I always had
that's not an easy trip.
That Greyhound, it's not, I guess. Like you're on a Greyhound bus and anything can happen on a Greyhound bus.
Yeah,
but, right. It was like 2.5 hours on the bus.
Port Authority, and then take something else down to Brooklyn?
Take the subway down.
Yeah. Huh. Well, you definitely have to skip school for that.
Yeah, as long as I was getting decent grades, my parents were pretty loose, didn't really pay too much attention to what else was going on. I wanted to take a day or two off.
What's with the bouncing around? Was there a reason for that?
No, my dad was working, so I guess you go where the opportunity is.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. So I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that childhood?
How would I rate it? I mean, that could be a loaded question.
He's just going to give it a number. 5.
5 next. No, I don't know how I would rate it, but I could tell you that, I spent most of my childhood just like absolutely obsessed over certain things. So, this is funny. I saw the movie Predator when I was like 8, like the original Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Completely obsessed. And then like I watched all the time and I would draw pictures of Predator all day long. But I'm not kidding. Like I would draw like life-size pictures of Predator. It's like
right.
Kind of insane. But I got so obsessed with that movie. Then when we, I'm kind of bouncing around, but when we found out that Predator 2 is coming out, I was like, oh, this could be dope. So like I found out who the director was. It was Joe Silver, maybe the producer. I drew him a picture. I wrote him a letter. I was like, however old, I was like 9 years old or something. And I was trying to get him to send me like a life-size Predator. Like, so totally unrealistic expectations. I still have that quality today. Like I just assume, whatever, if you put it out there, maybe it'll return, come back to you. But so I drew a picture of a predator and wrote him a letter, and he actually wrote me back, and he gave me like a life-size, predator.
No
so my
way.
early child, my life-size predator poster.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. So my early childhood was definitely filled with lots of drawing, lots of predator. And then when I got into sports, like I was pretty, maniacal about, whichever one, baseball, basketball, golf. Yeah. So a lot of sports.
Cool. So let's talk about some influences. Was there anybody or anything that was an influence when you were growing up?
Yeah. So again, if we're going besides
Predator, which I have to tell you, I literally just watched that the other night. And
the original, yeah.
Oh God, it still holds up.
It's the best, dude. I don't have
time to bleed.
Yeah. There's lots of gems in that one. I don't know if you just saw the newest one that came out. You see the newest one?
No. Is it what is they? Is he fighting Godzilla or something?
No. It's pretty cool. Like it kind of shows you like Predator's backstory, like who is Predator, like where's it
really?
come from.
What's that one?
Yeah.
What's that one called?
That
literally just came out.
Yeah, Predator Badlands. Yeah.
There was a couple of weak ones in that series.
I hate to say it, dude, I got so pumped. I got so pumped for something. I was like, yeah, this is the best. I've been waiting for 2 years. It's gone. And then it's just like this gigantic letdown. And I was like, because the original is just so gangster. It's like, how do you, the second one was good too with Danny Glover,
Yeah. But I think it was the third one that was really bad.
Well, then they started sprinkling the Alien vs. Predator movies. So that's when things started to go a little haywire.
That's a jump the shark moment right there.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But, so what was that? Right. I don't know. I derailed. I forgot what the last question was.
That's the best part of this podcast when we go down a rabbit hole. So I love that. So, influences. Did anybody or anything kind of influence you growing up?
Yeah. Just, again, so if it was like basketball, I would latch on to, Michael Jordan or, I was big into like Charles Barkley, if it was movies, it was The Predator. If it was music, I remember the first album I bought was Naughty by Nature. And then I listened to that like 8,000 times. And that's actually when I first started writing songs. It was like when I bought songs, meaning like I was writing raps at like, 8. Or whatever year.
So we're talking music and movies. Was there any individual that had any influence on you?
Nah.
Not
that no, everyone, the people that were not accessible to me, what I mean? It was like a gigantic alien that was destroying everybody. I was like, that guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or like sports heroes that were just like dominating,
Yeah, that's not the worst.
Or rappers,
Yeah. Not bad. Okay. So what about teenager? What are you thinking about? What are you curious about? Same kind of thing? Or is anything forming that's a little bit different?
No, it's just the same. More. I mean, I really got into basketball when we moved back to Connecticut. And so my dad was a D1 ball player. So that was always cool. Like I'd go through his he played for University of Buffalo. So I'd like go through his scrapbook and I'd see all these pictures.
That's where I grew up.
Is it?
Where I grew up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. So I'd flip through those and I would just play basketball from like sun up to sundown, and got pretty good at it. But
it's interesting because you're only 5'2".
Yeah. You can't tell on this, but I'm almost 5'3" now. Yeah.
No, so how tall are you?
Dude, I freak people out. It's funny because I'm on Zooms all day. So like when they actually see me in person, they're like, 6'7".
6'7". That's definitely basketball.
Yeah.
I'm 6'7".
Dude, it's funny. This whole thing with like 6'7" that all these kids are saying?
Today? Yeah, I don't know what that is. They don't want to tell me what it is.
So anyway, I was I just got out of my wife and I went to see the Pistons play like 2 weeks ago. And so like we're walking out and this kid's in his car. He was like, yo, he was like 6'7" and I was like, yeah. Oh. Because I'm tall or whatever. He was like making that connection and like took me a minute. I got all excited. I was like, what?
But what's the connection? I honestly don't even know what it is. My kids won't tell me what it is.
I mean, dude, it gets weird if you actually look into it. I don't think most kids even know what it's about. I forget the rapper off the top of my head right now who said it in a song that went viral. But if you look into his background, he's like into a lot of like voodoo witchcraft stuff.
Oh,
and I
interesting.
think that like the number 6 and the number 7 represent like these different entities or whatever. So then you'll get the other side where like kids don't even realize what they're actually saying. So, conspiracy TikTok, just look that up and you'll go way down the rabbit hole. Yeah.
All right. What about jobs growing up?
Yeah, so I was kind of, eat what you kill kind of guy, like always doing random things, like start hustling at like a very young age. So like, I found like the location because I spent a lot of time playing golf too. So I knew on the golf course which hole was the furthest away from the snack shack. So I would sneak out of the golf course and like set up like a lemonade stand or whatever. And bro, I would make bank and I would charge 75 cents because I knew nobody was going to ask for a quarter change. But if I asked for $1, they think it's too expensive. So I'd go out there, I'd make like $200 or whatever, like slinging lemonade. It was awesome.
That's great.
I was like cutting my friend's hair at like a little barber, business. What else? I did work at a golf course for a little bit. I was, cleaning people's clubs when they came in. I think that was probably one of the only jobs I had as a kid. The rest of it, I was just like, like I would play kids in basketball 1-on-1, make money,
So you're no traditional job. You're not at the ice cream stand.
No, not exactly. No. What was funny though, my dad's like a big sales guy and he had, like he's always been in like a home improvement business, and they had like a telemarketing to whatever it calls it. So I'd go like see him at the office, and I remember I was like 12, maybe not even 12, and he was like, "Hey, get on the phone, like start making some calls," and I'm like, "What?" So like he had me on the phone, and this guy was right across, and like this lady answers, and I was like, hi, I'm supposed to read the script. I'm so nervous, and I'm like, I know she knows I'm a kid. Like this is a disaster.
Yeah.
So then
then she put an $80,000 order with you.
Dude, I wish that'd have been sick. There was no way she was buying anything from me that day.
Right.
It was a funny thing because that does translate to like, stuff later on that we could talk about. But, like these, like sales and like the nerves, when you're talking, especially on the phone, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing because it's like, what are you even nervous about? Like, who cares?
Right.
But there is that thing you're talking. It's just like it's awkward.
Yeah. Like,
there's so many things to be like afraid of or nervous about. Like,
look, I mean, in all fairness, you were 12.
Yeah, but it's still if you give people a 12-year-old, yes, that makes sense. But give a 24-year-old the same thing, a 36-year-old, like it doesn't. That feeling doesn't really go away the first time you pick up the phone and try to convince a stranger to like buy some random thing that you sell. Like,
you're right.
What is that? It definitely is not natural.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's great context, Kyle. Let's and a great start. Alfonso, are we ready for track 2?
Yeah, let's do it. Sound of Now, track 2.
Cool. All right, Kyle, your fans want to know what you're up to now, but I got to tell you, I would love to do 2 things before we do this.
Yeah.
Number 1, how do you get to where you are now? There's still a little backstory, right? You talk about the hustling. Wasn't there some card playing involved? Wasn't there something there?
Yeah, for sure. So to understand how I got into that, though, we have to definitely go tell a little bit more of the music journey. So I mentioned like skipping school, taking the Greyhound bus down. I'd go to Brooklyn. There was this place called Beach Street on Fulton Street, which was like a whole city block long. And like the top floor, they would sell like jewelry and clothes. It was like kind of just like all type electronics. Like they sold everything. But downstairs, an entire city block long was vinyl. It was a record store. And they had like 3 live DJs down there, and like each section had kind of like its own thing. And that's how big it was that like this DJ could be playing music, and then you go to the next section, you can't even hear what's happening over there. So this was like when I was like 14. So I was a mixtape DJ. So like DJ Clue at the time, I don't know if any of that rings a bell, but like these big New York DJs, they would like break records. So record labels, especially in hip hop, if they wanted to release something, like they'd put it on these mixtapes with these big DJs and see kind of like how people were responding, right? Like, oh, this record is doing it, like this is going to be the single, like, you know, so they kind of get a sense for like what's going to be hot or not. So anyway, so I would make my own mixtapes with all this like exclusive stuff that I would get down in New York, and I would sell them around school. I'd sell them out of the trunk of my car, at the barbershop, you know, in the mall. But eventually when I ended up moving down to New York, I got tired of playing other people's stuff, and I created a record label, like really just as a vehicle to release my own music, you know. And guerrilla marketer by nature, I just printed up a bunch of CDs and I hit the street. So this is like really early 2000. And so I sold over 10,000 copies of my album, like up and down the subway platforms. Yeah. At the time it was J Street Borough Hall. Now it's J Street Metro Tech, but that's like where the, you know, the AC and the F train, you know, it's a busy hub. So talking about like the telemarketing thing and being like nervous, like, I don't know what to say to people. So when I first printed up, dude, I had thousands of these CDs, like boxes. I told you it sold 10,000. So it's like I eventually ended up like ordering more, but you get that first batch of like 2,000 CDs, like taking over my apartment. And so I'd go out with a backpack, and bro, I would walk around for 8 hours a day, and I literally would not even talk to a single person. And then I'd go home and I'd be like, well, that sucked. I didn't sell anything, but I didn't talk to me. Like, how can you sell anything if you don't talk to me?
Right.
So I did that for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I didn't sell anything. I didn't talk to a single.
What'd you do? Just like hold them in your hand?
No, I'd like walk up and be like, I'm going to talk to this person. No, I'm not.
Right. Okay.
I just couldn't work up the nerve. It was so stupid, bro. So finally, like I talked to somebody, like I don't know who the first, you know, and it was like, no, but I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then after a while, like long story short, I realized that like you can't do it on the street and have like a ton of success. Because they're walking somewhere, like they're trying to walk away from it. They don't know you. They don't want what you're selling for sure. So I'm like, if I go down to the subway, people are waiting for the train. I have a captive audience. They have to listen to me while they're waiting for the train. Train comes, okay, then they can leave. But in the meantime, you know, so I got comfortable walking up to people, you know, selling them CDs. And after a while, like you start to kind of understand, like they all say the same thing after a while. There's no reason that they can give you that you haven't already heard. If you're talking to that many people, nobody's that creative. Like eventually so then the pitch starts changing, and I start kind of like diffusing any of the objections before they even come up.
Right.
So then I became absolutely lethal. It got to the point where it was like, yo, if I'm walking up to you, like you're buying a CD, unless you truly don't have any money, which was seldom the case at the time. Everybody had cash.
What were you selling them for?
$5-10. Just depended, like, you know, I don't know how I was feeling on the day. But anyway, so I actually like oversaturated that market where it was just like, everyone was like, dude, I got that. I got your last one. Like, you know, let me know when the next one comes out. And I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't sell anymore. So then I moved like out into, you know, different areas of Manhattan. And when I was in Midtown South, something like 22nd Street or something, I remember this hot dog vendor, and bro, there were so many people that were always trying to waste my time. Maybe not deliberately, but would end up wasting my time. Like, oh, I mean, you know, I do music too, or that, and they have no interest in buying it. I'm working, and they want to talk to me about some random thing for 30 minutes. I can't do it. And so I see this hot dog vendor.
They could have said, yeah, the hot dog. Yo, I got a hot dog.
Well, he's trying to get like, so this all ties into the poker thing. So he was like, hey man, you know, I didn't know if he thought I was too close to his operation or if he was trying to talk about. So I was like kind of ignoring him. And then maybe 30 seconds later, I get slammed up against like this brick wall, and I was about to throw an elbow because I'm like, I feel like I'm being attacked. I turn around, it was like undercover, you know, detective. And he was like, and so I was like, yo, my bad. I didn't realize a cop, you know, like I'm not trying to resist or anything. So he chilled out. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he was like, you got a permit for selling those CDs. I'm like, it's my CD, you know? Like, dude, you live in New York. How many people you see selling art?
All the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't need a permit. It's their artwork. So, but I guess if it's a nicely printed CD with like the shrink wrap around it, it's a different category now. It's no longer art. It's something. So I tried to talk my way out of that. That wasn't happening. So like they went around, bro. I was in a paddy wagon for like 4 hours. They got a guy for selling teddy bears, a guy for selling peanuts. Right. I'm like, there's real crime, and you guys are getting up. Like, it was so absurd. But bro, I spent the night in jail because I spent in like the most frustrating part about that was how many times like cops would walk by my son. I'm like, what did you do? I was like, I was selling my CD. And I'm like, you got arrested for that? I'm like, you're like the third person who said that. So why don't you just let me go? Like, what are we doing here? So anyway, I spent the night in jail. I get out.
What did the peanut guy say? Like, what are you in for? Selling peanuts.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like the whole thing was so preposterous. But so having been like on that grind all day, every day, selling CDs, blah, blah, this, and then like get around, I'm like, I need a break, man. Like I need to, you know what I mean? So, but I'm like, I can't sit still. I got to make money. New York's expensive. So this was right when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker in 2004, I guess. Right. And that dude's story is like a complete fairy tale. Like his last name is Moneymaker. He buys into a $5 tournament online, wins that, parlays it into a bigger tournament. He does that like however many times, and it buys him a seat in the World Series of Poker, which is a $10,000 ticket, and he wins that. So the guy turns $5 into like $5 million, or
right.
Fact check me on the number, but something like that. And then
Alfonso, can you
fact check
that while we're talking?
But so I'm like, I could do that. This is New York. There's got to be a club in the city. You know what I mean? So found a poker club on 72nd and Broadway. I went to like meetup.com. They had to like check my ID. There was this whole thing or whatever. But so that I got into the poker world because I got arrested selling CDs on the street.
Right.
So I went from one, from vendor's permit, defense. Now it's like an underground poker club's probably more questionable than selling your CDs on the street.
But you've got some interesting tales about this, correct? It got a little dicey a few times. Yes?
Yeah, I've been involved in, I was there when a place would get shut down or something, a bunch of cops come kicking. I remember the first time that happened, I thought it was a joke. So many of them poured in. And I was like, what is it? Like, it was like actually hard to believe. And it's like, no, wait a minute. This is like a real, there must have been like 45 of them. It was so crazy. It's like, it's a poker game, guys, like what.
What ultimately turns you away from that? What happens?
That got me out of like the poker world.
Poker, yeah.
It loses its novelty after a while, man.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's a lot of fun. It was the best place to network ever. You'd get, all walks of life. You'd have like, I don't know, a 20-year-old rapper a 65-year-old divorce attorney, like two people that probably never crossed paths in real life. Right. That's cool. Sit down and become friends at the card table. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, so it was a lot of fun. It was definitely comedy hour every hour, the characters in there. But again, it's just like, I don't know, man, feel like I have more to offer the world than sit around and, do this until 6
in the morning
eating cheeseburgers. I did okay,
Yeah.
New York's an expensive place, but I know guys who crushed, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you play as much cards as I played, like you're going to get, better than the average person. But for me to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm like a good player when I know like good players, it's like, I'm not in that category. So it's like, and so it's a different, put my focus on other things.
All right. Before we get into the sound and now, I want to just do one other thing. And can you briefly tell us about the best sport jacket ever created in the history of sport jackets?
Well, I can't brag about it myself. I know what we're talking about here, but you got to tell, you know what I mean? I like the ego has died a little bit. I don't wear that jacket. Like if you
of course not. But it's still fantastic, right?
Yeah, right. So what you're referring to is the sports coat that I had, just my face on the back. But so when I grew up and all these rappers and record labels that I idolized, they were just walking billboards, everything that it makes sense. So they'd have these awesome jackets with like their company logo on the back, the big chains with the company logo. So it's like, if you're out there selling something, like you have a brand and you're outside, like you should be wearing your brand because you're a walking billboard. Like it's free advertising if you're moving. And in New York, there's a gazillion people, right? So I had an idea to make a nice sports coat, because there was like a very short stint where then I was slinging real estate. So I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have essentially like my business card on the back of my nice blazer, So my buddy Amar Bilal, shout out to Amar, is a custom clothier, and so I've seen some of the suits. I mean, these are amazing, and he does like amazing custom work. So I'm like, oh, he's a guy who could let's make the whole back of my jacket, my face. And he, as I mentioned before, he was completely turned off to that. He was like, no, bro. He's like, he's too classy to do that. But I'm like, why not? Like, it's my jacket. I'm paying you for it. Like, who cares what's on it? And so finally I convinced him, like, okay, to do it. But I had to give him total creative control over, how he went about it, which I was like, fine. Yeah. You know what I want in there. You want to put something up. So anyway, when he ended up delivering the jacket, he made a pattern out of my face all the way down. So I didn't just get the one big face of me on the back. I got probably there's like 200 of them throughout the jacket, but you have to be close enough to realize that it's my face. Anyway, it's a cool jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. Truly fantastic. Okay. Let's get back. We went down a rabbit hole there for a second. Let's get back to the sound of now. So you are the master of the one word answer, but can you tell us a little bit more about the company?
I'll tell you why that is, bro. Because I'm
but your explanations were not one word.
What are they? 2 words? Or my explanation when I'm talking?
The jacket? That was the poker is a little. You little more.
No, I get it, but I'm saying I'm answering one. I don't need to write everything out if we're going to talk about it, so I'll just give you the headline.
Okay, that's fine.
But also, like, what I've realized, especially, it's different conversationally, but I've become a full-time fundraiser, right? When you have a startup, like, you're constantly raising money, a perpetual state of raising money. Like, you don't get out of it, is what I've learned. It's like, it never stops. But you have to be able to answer things briefly or explain an idea, essentially in as few words as possible. Because if you put yourself in the shoes of the investor, if they're, it's a VC, they're looking at thousands of deals in email. You know what I mean? It's all noise. So it's like, just be succinct. Like, just, so maybe maybe that's rubbed off the wrong way. It's like if I'm answering a questionnaire, I give, word or 2 answers. Yeah.
Let's tell us a little bit more about the company.
Yeah. So, poker, music, whatever, I don't know. It was all like 2000, just making a ton of music. And the majority of success I had in that was in licensing. So TV shows, video games. So here, all that hustling, with the hustling CDs, one of the CDs of landing in the hands of a music supervisor at MTV. It's how I got my first placement. It just so happened I was working on a new album, like right when that happened. So I gave the guy a thank you in like the liner notes, which at the time when people were actually making albums was like kind of a big deal. It's like, oh, you made it into the thank yous. So he thought that was amazing. And then he gave me a placement in the season 3 trailer for this really popular show called Robin Big. So at the time, it was the most popular show on MTV, right? Like if they didn't have the regular programming on, it was that commercial. So I like to say that was my graduation from hustling CDs on the street into the licensing world, because I went on the license for, TV shows, video games, movies, commercials, you name it. But over time, as everything went from analog to digital, right? And so it's like, okay, the barrier to entry is way lower now, which is great for a lot of reasons. But now there's like this tsunami of content coming in because anybody with a laptop, they were like, if you have an Apple laptop, it comes pre-installed with some basic recording software, and then to upgrade to the pro version is like, now it's like $200, right? So it's like nothing. Whereas like, you had to go to a studio, all this clunky analog gear. Right. Like it was more special back then because it's like nobody knew how to do it. If you did, it was like it's too expensive to even like try or get good at it. But then it's like, so anybody can make music. And then if you go on YouTube, you can learn all the tricks. Right. So if you just have a little bit of ambition and want to make music, you can get good at it very fast. So for me, if I'm making a song or releasing an album, like it takes me a solid month before I feel comfortable actually like putting the song that I've been working on out into the world. That's just whatever. And there's people putting out a song every day and like, they're not going to have the same quality in terms of like engineering. Like but they don't like what I noticed is like the younger generation, like the people that like kind of blew up on SoundCloud, they didn't care. It was like, yeah, I'm just going to put out music. And like, if people like it, then like, you can always go back and polish it up, but maybe not even, then they just perform it live. And I was like, yeah, I can't work this fast, And so anyway, it was like, I'm not 17 anymore. I don't care about being famous. Like, you can't pay my bills and exposure. It might be time to put on a different hat, So in tandem, while I was running around doing all that, my brother John got his law degree, and like right out the gate was plugged in, booking agencies and working with like really big acts, and then started his own shop. It was representing at the time mostly gold and platinum selling music producers. And so I saw this gap in the market where I was like, there's a lot of guys that he represents that people want access to, but they either don't know how to get in touch with them and they can't afford them. So I was like, what if we created like a boutique licensing agency to provide access to very high level music producers at an affordable rate, right? And so the concept was, we didn't invent it, but there were people who were like making music production and selling licenses to other artists who wanted to make new songs for like $25, $35. And some of them were absolutely killing it, making hundreds of thousands, because you think about it, it's like not everybody has $5,000 to spend. Everybody's got $25, $35 if they want to put on an album. So the ones that were out there doing it were making a bunch of money. And then I started seeing that some of the artists that John was representing weren't doing it, but other people were making tracks that sounded like theirs, and they were using their name to sell those tracks. So I'm like, dude, the market is there and their buyers are there, but they're giving the money to people who sound like these artists because the artists they want aren't actually doing it. So we just had to educate them, like, you're not selling your tracks for $25. You're licensing them non-exclusively, right? So it's like, and here's how much money you can make by just selling that same track over and over and over again to people who want to, I say sell, licensing it, to people who want to use it. And so once that clicked, and then we got a few like, name brand producers on this crappy little WordPress site, bro. We had no tech. It was the worst. But like we launched, it was like gangbusters. Like we had traction. But that site started like unraveling after a fair bit of time, just because, again, it was like WordPress version 1.0. We didn't have any tech. And it's like, well, you can only bring this so far. Like, might be time to think through and like build a truly scalable platform. So that's like kind of the inception of what we're doing today. But it's morphed a lot and is continuing to take new shape, because now we're in AI and everything's moving crazy fast. And, it's easy to look at the landscape and see like what everyone's doing, and then make some predictions of where you think things are going and like what people are going to find valuable. So
at its core, though, how do you describe what the company does?
Great question. So the elevator pitch is basically we unlock value for music at warp speed so that artists, record labels, and ultimately their fans can do more with it, because there's 100,000 new songs added to streaming platforms every single day, right? That's a lot of music, and that's just going to grow. That's not slowing down. But they all follow the same journey, right? So there's like the fun part, the music gets made, then it gets released, and then it gets consumed. But right after that fun part, there's an absolute nightmare waiting for the artists and the record labels, because there's a million things that they have to do to get those tracks commercially ready for all the different audiences that want it, all the different ways that they want it or need it, right? All the different variations, all of the metadata, and it better be right and ready because it affects everybody downstream, right? So what we're doing is basically taking all that pain and simplifying it like one beautiful upload moment. Like you upload and boom, we give you all those assets. And then also with the click of a button, if you want to, you can publish it to our marketplace and you can do business directly with your fans. And you set the terms, you set the prices, you want to give it away, you want to charge millions of dollars, like it's up to you. We're not a party of the transaction. So that's huge. So if you look at some of these other platforms, where like Substack or Shopify, right? Like giving like the sellers ownership of like that whole merchant component, like, writers, ownership of their subscribers and this. And so it's happened in these different layers, but like music hasn't had its its moment where
right.
the people releasing the music, and that's record labels too, right? So like everything gets sent downstream, and then you wait a long time, and then you get some money sent back to you. And it's like, especially now, if you just go online, like there's a lot of friction. There are a lot of artists very upset with one of the biggest platforms. And so it's just interesting. So a lot of people are like, I have an audience, and yet I don't have any ownership of that with my music online, right? The only place they have ownership is like when they get in front of them at a concert or something, then they can perform for them, they sell tickets, or maybe they sell the merch. But all the value is captured by all the tech platforms. So what we're saying is like, hey, streamline your workflow, maximize your profit and productivity, all under the Lootly umbrella. So Lootly is short for absolutely. So we're building the absolutely essential platform for anybody, releasing music.
Okay. That's the second iteration of the name though, correct?
Yeah, it was License Lounge, which is where we started for, because that's my background is in licensing. So, but as we started to add all these like incredible features, like I remember I was talking to one company and they're like, oh my God, and they're like, but wait a minute, so why are you called License Lounge? And I was like, yeah, I think we may have outgrown that name. Like licensing is no longer the star of the show. It's a component, we still do it, we offer it, but it's becoming less and less critical to the mission.
So let's talk a little bit about, you've had a hell of a journey with Lootly. Can you talk to us a little bit about any mistakes or failures or anything that stands out?
I mean, you're a first-time founder. I'm a first-time founder, like a tech founder, right? So you don't know what you don't know. And there's just, you're building a boat while you're in the water.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's messy. I don't know. Like there's no good answer. Like there's no definitive mistake where I was just like, oh man, I effed that up so bad. It's, here, I'll answer it like this. It might give you a better answer. It's not a straight line at all. So, yeah, okay, here, deadlines in like product timelines, there's expectation and then there's reality. So one thing I've learned for sure is like, be careful. You don't want to put your foot in your mouth when you're like overpromised. This thing's going to be ready to go. And then you realize you're so far away from it because now that a few people started using it, you've learned all this other stuff that you didn't pay attention to is either broken or not, so it's tough. It's like, it's not a straight line. You're constantly raising money. You're building product. You're talking to customers, iterating, trying to figure out where they find the value, what they like, what they don't like, then trying to sell this vision of the future because it's not really a thing yet that you're doing.
Right.
And convince investors that you understand this, like the market are better than anybody else. Because, dude, there's a million people before me who've started companies that have failed, and they all thought that their thing was rock solid. So now you're talking to investors, like maybe they've invested in several different music things that didn't work out. So they've got a chip on their shoulder coming into this, or like, why are you going to be? It's a constant uphill battle. And honestly, me hustling CDs on the street, all they were like, I'm used to getting punched in the face and hearing no and blah, blah, blah. But what I will say, like when you're talking to investors specifically, like if you talk to enough of them, everybody's got an opinion, right? So they may think that they know about your business and they don't know what they're talking about. But if you start to hear some of the same things come up over and over and over, you're like, okay, there's a gap here, something that I wasn't, because they're all saying it now, right? And that could look like a number of different things, but so you have to be willing to, in a way, stick to your guns, have conviction in, the thing that you're building, but also be malleable and like, okay, like maybe I'm not thinking about this fully. So like I need to maybe, I don't know, add a new team member or something that I didn't think was critical, or that person that I thought was good was not, and maybe this person so they can build this thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just every day is kind of like you're putting.
That's a good segue into this next one: resilience or adaptability. If you had to pick one, which one's more you?
That's good. Definitely resilient, bro. Like, I'm for sure resilient. Like, I know a lot of people say this. I'm not trying to. But it's like it's hard to get in my way of whatever the mission is if I believe in it, Yeah. And there's no doubt that I believe completely in the thing that we're building. Because there's plenty of times where it's just been like, easy enough to throw on the top.
That's literally the next question. Have you ever dealt with some self-doubt?
Oh, the whole time is self-doubt, bro. There's not a day so there's a different, like, I'm resilient, I'm going to keep going, but the self-doubt creeps in from all these different signals. You know what I mean? Like, something takes too long and you're just like, it's so frustrating. I'll tell you this. I say this to my wife at the time. So, I don't know if we have enough time here. Maybe it's a part 2 conversation, but I don't know how people go through this journey without a belief in God. I don't know how they do it, because I've prayed a lot about this path that I'm on and this journey I'm on, and I feel convicted that, yes, I'm on the correct path. But when everything seems to be not going right and you don't have that, even then it's like you're praying like, yo, did I hear you correctly? Like, am I on the right path? So the resilience and doubt, it's not like those things can't, like, I think that the doubt is, the doubt creeps in. The resilience is getting over that doubt. Okay. It's not that you don't have doubts. It's you're full of doubt, but you just keep charging forward.
Just press on. Okay, so that was the next question. It's like, how are you going to handle it? So you kind of just push through it.
Yeah, but and here's the other thing. I don't know how people do this alone. You can't.
Right.
It's so, I thank God I've got amazing investors, advisors. Some of the investors, they're very hands-off. Like, it's like, cool, just give me the updates, whatever. Other ones are so happy to help. So it's like, I know that I can ping them, and they've been down this journey enough times. So, like, they have way more context than I have. So, like, having a good support system of advisors or investors who are founders that get what you're going through. Because it's like, I thought I was going to raise money and this whole thing would have gotten, it's like 3 years ahead of where we're at right now, And so then you're just like, oh man, like, this is taking long. And they're like, dude, this is par for the course. You know what I mean? Like, let me tell you about my company, blah, 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 which I know that they had, a successful exit on. So it's just like, you just got to keep going. It's doubt every day. But having good people in your corner is like, there's no way with the team that I couldn't do this by myself. Like, my team's incredible,
So what about a tough decision that you've had to make? Okay. You've been part of License Lounge Lootly for how many years now, right? Any really tough decision you've had to make so far?
Yeah. When some of them I'm not comfortable getting into.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah. You don't have to do it. But maybe you can answer this part. How did it ultimately affect you or the business?
Here's one maybe I can do. Like, letting somebody go, that sucks. You know what I mean? It sucks. But it's, if you got to do it, if it's necessary, right? Like, that person is not maybe the right fit or whatever, right? There's a myriad of reasons. It's so sad. I don't want to get into, but like, you let somebody go, that's awful. It's just like, it's not a good feeling. Yeah. Tough decision. There's a tough one, Sometimes that could be very easy, but other times maybe not.
Did it have any impact on you personally or the business?
Everything affects me. Yeah.
Because you're making a decision, right?
Yeah. And I'm making a decision that affects somebody else too. Like,
right.
You can make a decision where it only affects you. That's easier, but when you're making a decision that affects somebody else who then may need to go look for it, like it's.
Yeah. When things get to the point you're talking about, things get tough at work, what's a go-to stress reliever?
I go home and I just dump it all on my wife. I'm like, all the problems. I bring work home and I just dump. But like, truthfully, like, you got to have somebody to vent to, man. You know, unfortunately, it's her probably too much, but she's a saint. You know, thank God for my wife that I'm married to the right person, because that's another thing. I don't know how I could have done this with like somebody that doesn't like. She's a believer in the mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If ride or die, she's all in. She's like, yeah, like 100%. Like, I believe in you. I believe in this. Like, there's no other way. It is great because, like, I don't know how many, women out there would put up with this. You know, it's just like.
Well, he's not a woman, but I don't know where I'd be without Alfonso.
There you go. Same. Where would we be today? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you got to have an outlet, And I'll tell you, what's been interesting is I'm on Zooms all day. I'm like not interacting too often in person.
Right.
And so that sucks. So it's like.
Why? Why does that suck? Because you're not with people?
Yeah. I love being around people.
Yeah.
I mean? Zoom's been great. Like, dude, every penny we've raised has all been on Zoom calls,
Right.
Like that's been awesome. Like that wouldn't have been possible without, I'm saying Zoom or whatever, Google Meet,
Yeah.
the video calls. And then it's like, okay, we're like too disconnected from each other these days. Like, wouldn't mind being, we're like a remote team, being in the office, like, for anything, or just like, it could be isolating.
Yeah, I get it. So anything you would change? A path you could have taken? Maybe curious how that would have played out.
Different path. Nah, I don't like.
Tough to say as CEO.
I'm just like, I'm not a regret guy. You know what I mean? I don't really like, it
doesn't it's not regret, but it's like we're all, I think there's paths that were kind of, geez, I was going down there and curious how that would have played out.
No, because again, maybe this is my faith component, but I look at it and it was like, I'm on this path. And as I look back, I can see how everyone's like, oh man, that made sense. Like sometimes it's way better when things don't work out, especially on your timeline. Right. But we want everything to happen on our timeline. There's like my timeline, there's God's timeline. Those are two very different timelines.
Yeah.
And so submitting that my timeline is just like, forget about it. Then it's like, all right, then things play out how they shake out. It makes more difficult situations more comfortable. But I don't know. I can't really think of, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. I really, honestly, I'm not like, at least in this journey, it's not to say like it has been really challenging, but it's not full of like any regrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like, damn, this is a hard thing that I'm doing.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? You personally, and where do you see Lootly in the next 5 years?
Yeah. So 50 million users. I see Lootly is competing as one of like the big media applications, for sure. Yeah.
And what about you personally?
Tough to say, man. I kind of don't, like I could be anywhere, like I don't, whether it's, I don't think I'll be.
Not geographically. I mean, I'm talking about you personally in your role in Lootly.
Yeah. I mean, 5 years we'll either have been acquired or we'll still be in business, maybe heading to an IPO. And, assuming we don't have a board that hates my guts, whatever, and has fired me, I'll still be the CEO.
Right. So any big thing you're thinking about?
Like a big life decision?
Not necessarily that. With Lootly, well, we'll go both. Anything big you're thinking about personally or with Lootly?
Yeah, I mean
talk about.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of all just like they call it like the big hairy audacious goal, right? So you look out into the future, what's the big thing, and then you kind of like work your way back and reverse engineer it. So 2026 is like the year for us. So we're teed up really to like launch this full version, the outbound marketing and like announcing to the world we're here because, we've had the site live. We've been iterating for like 2 years, getting feedback, but now we have real value, like monetary value that some of our early adopters are getting. And so it's like, okay, the signals are there now. And, the the tech is right, the team is built. So it's just about, okay, like getting this into the hands of the users and letting everybody know it exists. So the first target really for 2026 is our, well, I guess I might have to be careful of what I disclose in terms of KPIs.
You don't have to. You don't have to. But and I get there's some stuff you can't say. So, look, this. The title of this podcast is "Sound of Success." So, I think the question is, how do you define success?
It's an interesting question because, I'm working at building this business that I hope has, tens of millions of, it becomes huge. And so then with that, there will be like, a financial component or whatever. But I don't think that's it. I think that the success is just building something from a company perspective, right? Building something that people find valuable. And I'm really passionate about this. So it's like, if I get to actually work on it that long, like that's amazing. That means we did it. You know what I mean? Like we built something that other people found useful, and it started with an idea, So to me, that's amazing. And it's a lot like when I would make a song, it's just different. It's like the same, but it's different. I'd have an idea in my head and I'd work on it and go, I think this might be good enough to like play for somebody. Then I get some feedback, and then eventually, like, okay, it's got to go out into the world, And so we're at that stage, but then you'll see like if people really enjoy using it or find value, right? So that would be awesome. And then I guess on the personal side, a good marriage and my kids like me. So what more could I ask for? Like spending a lot of time with my friends and family.
Okay, so the follow-up question. Are you successful?
I am on the ladder, right? I am on the ladder. Like I got a great relationship with my wife. My kids love me. I got good friends, right? So I'm successful in life. On the business, we're getting there. But I would say, if you look at where we are at the moment, I'm successful. Like, dude, who my partners are, like literally the guy who created Google Drive, Google Sheets, somehow I convinced to join this journey, and like, he's my business partner. You know what I mean? So like, if that's not success, that like I get to work on an idea with that guy, then we're doing okay over here.
Sometimes we need to look back at where we've come from to see the success. So hang on one second, Kyle. Alfonso, you're still.
This is a great album. Let's get some liner notes, Jim.
Kyle, this is you have fans, and your fans are really going to get to know you through this. So are you ready
for this going on? Or there's some other question? Am I right?
No.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
So I want to know if you're ready.
For what?
Are you ready? The liner notes.
Sure. Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So who is the closest person you know? First name only.
Okay. So like the closest person in my life that I know.
I'm going to reiterate the question.
Yeah.
Who is the closest person you know? First name only.
I'm hesitating here because their name will be out in the ether. I don't know if I want this person's name out in the ether.
It's a first name only.
This is for the liner.
Dude, just come on, man. Sir, you've been doing so good here. Just name someone you're close to.
I'll give you the initials.
One name.
C.
The first C for fantastic. So if we ask C to describe your quirks or weird habits, what would they say? Oh my God.
Is it unfair to say I don't have any? I don't know.
Oh, get out! Give me a break. A guy who sees predator 49 times and draws it for the next 3 months. Jesus, he's done it, Alfonso. There's nothing weird or quirky about him. Congratulations. You did it. Congratulations. Right, I'll let you off the hook there. I doubt it, but I'll let you off the hook.
Okay.
So if you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
I think encyclopedic memory, like reading and memorizing. That would
Excellent.
be a
You are
superpower.
the first guest. You are the first guest who didn't name an instrument.
Oh.
Everybody wants to master the piano or something, an instrument. So congratulations. This is a second award you got. One for brief.
We're just out here bringing home ribbons.
God almighty, this is unbelievable. The award ceremony for this thing is going to be ridiculous. Okay. This is similar to the other one, but I want to hear some good stuff. When you need to hit the reset button, what's your go-to zone out activity?
Oh man. Yeah, that's shifted. So unfortunately I'm neglecting that right now.
Bachelorette.
What's that?
Bachelorette.
Watching The Bachelorette. Yeah, I like to go for a schwitz, like go for a nice steam or something, or a sauna, that's always a good deal. I mean, that reduces the blood pressure. Napping is nice, not getting enough sleep.
Okay.
Catch a nice little snooze in there would be nice.
Boy, I was expecting
watch a Predator movie or something.
Again, still back to okay.
She's going to lean into it, my friend.
Is there any other? All right, well, we got some stuff later on, so I'm going to find out. Okay, that was I really wanted to hear Bachelorette. I really did, but it's not. No,
I do like what's that show on Netflix? Is it Love Is Blind, where they put them in the pods? They don't see each other. Have you seen this show?
No, I haven't seen that. This is good though. This is what I wanted to see.
Brilliant, bro. It's such a good show. So they whatever, the producers, they handpick, I don't know, like a couple dozen, guys and girls, and then they put them on like truly blind dates. So they put them in a pod. They each go into their own separate pod. There's no window. There's just a mic and a speaker and like a couch, so they can like sit. And they're supposed to figure out of all the people that they go on these like little dates with who they like. So they start like, whittling it down, and then they find their favorite, and then they propose. They get engaged without seeing each other. Yeah,
that's absolutely staged.
Well, this is why I'm saying the producers, I was talking about this with my wife, like they have to, like, if there's zero success on the show, then it's like, it's stupid, right? So they're probably trying to like bring people into the show that would be compatible, right?
Right.
So they're not finding like somebody that's a smoke show and pairing them with somebody
it sounds like a modern version of the dating game.
Sure, it is that. Yeah. Before my time, I'm not as old as you are, but
Yeah, no, I know. No one is. All right.
Yeah. No, but hold on. No, you have to let me finish the premise now. Now that you got me started about it, since you want to know so bad. Yeah.
Pods.
No, yeah, the pods. Then they see each other for the first time. They're walking down this thing, and sometimes it's like, oof, you see the look like they're a little. But dude, sometimes it's like this crazy embrace, and it's like, yo, these people are madly in love, and they're together for like a month or so, and then they go to the altar and they say yes or no, right? But dude, there's been people on that show, like they get married, they're still married, they have families now. It's wild. So really? I like a good love story. I like to see two people, find joy.
I know.
Start a family.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
So you're going to go watch it tonight.
Well, I can't promise. Dead or alive? Who do you have lunch with?
Oh.
Please let it be somebody I know.
I could give you like the,
Lincoln.
Like be like Jesus. Obviously, that'd be cool to talk to Jesus. Who would be a good person other than Jesus to?
Well, pick one. Hey, you want Jesus?
Who's better to talk to than Jesus?
All right, sure. You can take it. All right, so you have I don't know what he'd order. So you have a great lunch with Jesus, right? And I have to say, you get another award because you went straight to the top.
Little Korean barbecue. Is that what you're asking?
You didn't make any pit stop. You went right to the top. So you have a great lunch. What an engaging conversation with Jesus. But inevitably, the check comes. Who pays?
That's a good question. I mean, knowing him, he would probably insist, but then I'd be like, well, if I'm following in his footsteps, I would insist. And then it'd be this tug of war over the check.
Okay,
then,
now that's really interesting. That would be great. So you'd sit there for another hour and a half debating.
And so would everybody else around them, because they'd be in the presence of God. Everyone being like, look, and no bill would ever get paid.
And the waiter's just like, dude, give me a break. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so nobody pays. That's great. It's all more of a
tug of war over the check.
A spiritual tug of war. All right, good. Okay, money or meaning?
Meaning. To go through life without meaning and just money is meaningless. There's some deepness for you.
All right. I could go a little deeper in that, but that's okay. Now, I know that you're not doing this very often because you're working so hard, but what's the best vacation you ever took?
Well, I think so. Right before COVID, my wife and we went to Israel for like 10 days. That was awesome. That was a really fun experience. We still had a pit stop in Istanbul also, because we had a layover there. So we were there for a couple of days. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Israel was amazing. Our honeymoon, we went to Bali and then stopped in Hong Kong on the way back. And I was blown away by Hong Kong. Bali was incredible too, but I'm like, I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that, because like Hong Kong is basically like an island. There's water and like there's mountains. It was like, it's like New York, but like in a tropical place is what it felt like.
Right.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Books or movies?
Probably movies these days.
All right. Then we're going to start with books. Which book would you give as a gift?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Hold on. How about The Odyssey? I don't know, bro. I just told you I'm like on a movie or whatever. I'm not reading.
All right, fine. So
I would give him a business book here. How about this one?
You disappeared. Look at him. He's disappeared.
The Secrets of Sand Hill Road, for any of my buddies that want to embark on this fundraising journey. They can read
all right,
that
that's a little bit better. That's better than The Odyssey. That seemed a little bit like 8th grade.
These are the questions you should have sent me ahead of time, so I don't have to sit here.
That's what makes it fun. It's if I give you all the things, it's not fun, and you give me one word answers anyway. Okay, movie. Which movie do you think everybody has to see?
Predator. No, I'm serious. That's like, how do you like the Predator? That movie, it changed. Like, that is probably the best alien movie ever, period. Like, any movie about an alien, the cast, that's a real action movie from the 80s, and it still holds up today.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so don't talk to me about action movies if you haven't seen Predator.
And you know what's funny? 2 of the guys ended up being mayors.
Yeah. Did you know that Jean-Claude Van Damme, they almost didn't make that movie?
No,
they almost never released it. Yeah.
Tell me more.
So they film the movie, they get back to edit it, and then they're like, we have a serious problem. Half of the movie is amazing. The other half it's terrible. And they're like, so the alien, all the scenes with the Predator, Jean-Claude Van Damme was actually playing the Predator. He's not a very big guy in stature. And they had this like ridiculous costume. Like, it wasn't scary. It wasn't believable. So like all the scenes with all the, the commandos and stuff and like running through the jungle is like, this is great. But like the alien's a joke. Like, it doesn't add up. Like, we can't. And so they had to make the decision, like, do we scrap the project? Because it's going to mean we're going to have to go back And so they went back to the drawing board and came up with the Predator that we now have.
What did the other one look like?
I don't know, man. Just Google it. It's just a stupid, corny
you
little
can see
thing.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I will definitely do that.
Yeah. There's like a little like I don't know. It's like a full length documentary, but you can find it. Just I'm sure if you go on YouTube. But anyway, so they refilmed it all, and then I don't remember the name of the actor, but the guy was like 7.5 feet tall. So like it went from like a 5 foot something alien to this like almost 8 foot tall beast that actually intimidating. That could kill Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, and then look at and they're still making movies now today.
Well, he blew apart Jesse Ventura. Blew his chest apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even he couldn't last. But he became mayor after his guy's chest blown apart.
Yeah. I mean, he's a Navy SEAL, so he's like, he didn't really kill him. He just wanted to become mayor.
Yeah. Okay. Alfonso, what are you thinking here?
Love the liner notes. What about a bonus track?
I mean, Alfonso's asleep over there.
Are you guys in the same room?
Wake up. Absolutely. He's right over there. Okay.
Yeah, I have my nap going.
Brutal. Perfect plan, Alfonso. Kyle, let's record a bonus track. Okay. So we started out today's episode with a track that we felt captured you, your nature, and your personality. Now, again, your fans, I mean, they can't stop.
They can't stop. There's just so many fans that can't stop.
They want a bonus track. Yeah. A song that you think best represents you. So, Kyle, lay it on us.
Have to be one of my records, bro.
So give it to it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, anything.
Anything.
Yep.
By who?
Oswald Boswald.
Okay. So why does this song represent you right now?
It's interesting. This has been mind-blowing. My kids, they actually listen to my music. And they'll put it on, and so it's like, I'm listening to stuff that I haven't listened to in a long time. And what's crazy, though, is like I find it somewhat inspiring because it reminds me of who I am. And it's like,
right.
One of the lines is, you want to know about the grind, you should take a look at mine. I took every dollar bill I had and put it on the line. I looked up in the sky and asked God for a sign. He said to move along or just quit while behind. But I'm no quitter. I'm a big go-getter. And one day I'm going to have a number one hitter. But I'm no sitter. I don't wait for dinner because that's so beginner. I'm a long-time winner. So,
he gets another award, Alfonso. He's the first guest to rap on the show.
So I'll listen to some of this, and it's like, because I remember just being in that, and there's what's interesting too is I listen to a lot of my records, and I don't want to say they're all like that, but a lot of them are just like, they have that sentiment, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get after whatever it is. I mean,
right.
Right. And so it's like, all right, I listened to that record that I made almost 20 years ago. And it's like,
right.
Yeah, bro, I feel the same way about the thing I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Right. So you have to give me a fun fact about, because this section I usually give a fun fact. I do some, I go down a rabbit hole on some of the music that people pick. But here, I think I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to let you give me a fun fact about Oswald Boswald, which is basically you, and it's your what? Your
moniker?
Moniker? Yeah, sure.
Stage name.
Give us a fun fact about it.
About the name, or just something else about my career as an artist?
Any fun fact you want to give? Any fun fact?
We just spent an hour and a half talking about fun facts.
One fun fact.
Okay, so
let's talk about the name. That's a good fun fact. What? Talk to me about the name.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's been many cycles of names. Like it started off as, so when I was DJ, I was Killer Kyle, and then it's funny. So my brother, I remember him telling me this was so funny. A lot of these mixtapes that we talked about earlier, right? You'd have vendors on the street selling these mixtapes. And I remember my brother was buying some, And he was telling the guy, he was like, oh, yeah, my brother's a DJ. And he was like, oh, yeah. He was like, what's his name? And he was like, Killer Kyle. And he goes, you ever kill anybody? And he's like, I don't think so. And he goes, he might want to rethink that name. And I'm like, I'm killing the music. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not a gangster by any stretch. So it's like maybe time. So then I was like DJ Knuckles. And then I remember hearing this. I was in this other rap group that I started in high school. We were called IRS, the Intellectual Rhyme Specialist, right? We never released anything, but that was the name of the group.
Yeah.
And like my buddies were like picking out like these random adjectives or whatever, like, from the dictionary. And I was like, it's like, I don't know, probably think of something else. And I remember hearing a Method Man song. And I always liked the name Oswald. I just thought it was a cool name. Don't ask me why. And I remember hearing Mr. Method Man, for short, Mr. Meth. And I was like, Mr. Oswald, that's it. And so I was Mr. Oswald for a while. But then I was like, as I started like really kind of branching out from this like hip hop stuff and like my sound was changing a bunch, I started to understand a bit more about like marketing and branding or whatever. And like I became less serious. Like I went from being this like very serious like battle rapper, like underground, like had to be a wordsmith. And then I was like, I just want to make fun music. You know what I mean? Like and so when I was thinking about that, I'm like, a fun, and me and my buddy, like, I don't remember, we were just joking around. We said Oswald, Boswald. And like, I was cracking up. And then like, I was just like, it's so stupid. I was like, but it's so catchy, like Ozzy Bozzy, so I just thought it, so like crazy meaning behind it,
Yeah, it's great. Well, I'll journey on all the names. That's
evolution
good.
Of the
that's cool. That's cool. Well, Kyle, that's a perfect closing note for today's session. So big thanks to Kyle Jekelek of Lootly. Thank you for recording with us today.
Yeah, man, this was fun. And when are we got to take this like offline? And,
we'll go in a minute.
I don't know. I mean. No, we got to take this. Stop. We got to go take this offline and have dinner or something.
Yeah, but let me do my closing. Let me do my closing.
Now, I want to interrupt it for as long as possible. I want to hang on to the. No, just kidding.
So, if there's one thing that we all seem to share, regardless of background and profession, it's our shared love of music and making connections with great people like we did today with Kyle. So, thank you, Kyle. Until the next time, I'm Jim Lombardo, where the sounds of success are unscripted, unfiltered, and unforgettable. All right, Kyle,
Thanks.
You did it, buddy.
All right, we did it.
I mean, award after award after award.